Hey Tim, look at this.
Needs work.
Hey Tim, how about this?
Still needs work.
Darn it. How about this?
Nice, high five.
Hey there, everybody. How's it going?
My name's Tim.
And my name's Michael.
And you're watching the TMI show.
That's the Tim and Michael Information Show, and it has been too long.
It has been far too long. We've had a lot going on.
Oh, so much going on. And that's kind of what this is. It's sort of a catch-up day. And this happens to you often with some colleagues and friends is you're going to be working really close with people, and you're going to be maybe in a concentrated zone, whether it's going to be school or work. And then all of a sudden, class ends, or you get a different job, or something happens, and then you kind of don't see people for a bit. But then, hopefully, if the fates align, and you really are devoted to each other as colleagues, then you will get together. Magneto and Xavier can never be separated for too long. They'll eventually find each other and have some sort of dramatic thing. But anyways, you told me that you were on a trip. So why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, I went to Ireland.
Why? I mean, not why, but I mean, like, I would love to go to
Why would anybody go to Ireland?
No.
They only have beer and pretty girls. I mean, gosh.
No, I mean, I love to travel. But yeah, so what was the privilege of taking you over there?
Yeah.
What took you?
Well, I mean, why not? It was actually a family trip, which is how I got to go, which was really great. My sister had a graduation. My parents also had their 30th anniversary this year, and I just really like Ireland. So it was really great. We toured my family toured the whole island. I was only there for half the trip, so I saw half the island.
Mm-hmm.
Started in Dublin, ended up in Shannon, which is on the opposite coast of Dublin, on the west coast, and then I flew out from there, and my family went up to Belfast in Northern Ireland and toured around there for a bit. So we saw a lot of stuff, and it was really, really exciting.
I think it's nice when you get to go with family as opposed to a academic trip, because I feel like for at least some of my friends who've studied abroad or told me about it, there's always some sort of, well, I am learning, but it's beautiful over there, but I'm still learning. And at least when you go with family, it's sort of just, I get to do whatever I want to do. Funny enough, you brought some pictures with us, didn't you?
I did.
You have some sort of things to show us.
And this is part of the reason we're talking about this, because I've loved seeing Europe in movies. I've wanted to be Scottish ever since I saw Braveheart. Then Pixar did Brave, and I got the art book for Brave, and I've just been like, Celtic. So this was really sort of a double research trip on the side for me, which was really great.
This is amazing. You showed me a little thumbs and previews of these before I get to see the full thing. And now, it's funny that you mentioned Belfast. I just recently started watching Sons of Anarchy per my bassist and guitarist recommendation. And season 3 spent a good deal in Ireland. This is the first shot I believe you showed me from your travels. And it's funny because immediately I thought, no, that's exactly what the shots look like. And if they weren't in Ireland, they sure did fool me. And they actually went to their other chapter in Belfast, which they call Sandbell. So, I mean, funny that you were at that place just now while you were probably in Belfast while I was watching Belfast.
That's bizarre.
Happening. And I love this. I know we're spending a long time on this shot, but I just love how it looks. I mean, and even then looking at like the Assassin's Creed holes where you could easily scale the building.
The literal pigeonholes. Guess what hangs out of those?
Now, did they make those themselves, or was that built into the building?
The holes, you mean?
Yeah.
I would presume so, because it's not like they've just eroded in. They're perfect little cubby holes, perfectly spaced into the bricks and the rock work. So when you look at those, they look like they are deliberate. They don't look like they've just sort of been put there.
I know this wasn't for composition or anything, but just because I'm on it, I really like how balanced this shot is.
Thank you.
You have a really epic angle, just making that castle look sizably huge and, kind of getting the sky in there almost like it's tearing into the sky. And if you kind of squint your eyes and just do this balance of black and white, I mean, it's jagged, it's cutting all into that. And then you have these birds kind of taking you through, and that's a really nice eye for it, just kind of being able to shoot. I mean, it says something for your sensibility of composition as you're moving through. So what else do you have to show us?
Definitely. Well, so you've seen this. This is sort of the grand overall piece, because it's nice to know castles, or in this case, this was a monastery, I believe. It was more religious than militaristic. So it's nice to have an overall sense of what this looks like and how it was shaped. But then you also want to know what the details look like. And I was a detail hound all over Ireland. So you go through and there's being a religious building, there is a graveyard behind it and a lot of these really great Celtic crosses. This is a piece of a Celtic cross that actually fell off the top of a rather sizable headstone. But you look at that and you look at these really great Celtic knots and all the intricate detail work. And having that for reference, trying to replicate that is invaluable. You can't do that out of your head.
Even so, for people to kind of get an idea of how big it is, and I wasn't there obviously, but I'm just looking at it, and I'm looking at the bricks on the left, and the size of the grass, and even the general size of moss that has already grown. You can tell this thing's been down there for a while, and you can see what the weathering has done to it. And this just, I can almost feel the weight of it crashing down when it fell, but it's been there for so long. Wow, these are great, man.
Thanks.
You said you took a lot of detailed shots, and you have some more wide shots.
Oh, I did. I've got a bit of a wider shot up here. So this is one of the columns inside the monastery. They had a series of, I forget what they're called in architecture, but it's those arches that sort of come around to form like a dome.
I was gonna say this is the most beautiful corner I've ever
Thank
seen.
you. I say thank you like I built it.
But it is. There's, I mean, somebody went to, and it's not even went through the trouble. I mean, that's what it was all about back in the day. I mean, there was so much art in these. I'm looking at the feet, just down there in the bottom, all these little kind of ridges put together from the stone, and that's just a corner of a building, you know. Be it an arch that's actually supporting. Oh, more! Show us more!
Yeah. Now this, oh boy, I forget what this was. This was in one little corner of the monastery. I have a photo of a map in here somewhere, so I can dig it up and find out what this is. But I believe these were maybe the apostles. They had a lot of little details like this, little figures and little pieces of art that depicted events from the Bible or characters from the Bible or what have you. So I took as many of these as I could get because it gives you a sense of really just what the people who built this valued and how they did it stylistically.
You know, I think so many people are familiar with Egyptian hieroglyphics, but they kind of forget that this sort of thing was done all over the place. And if you look closely all over the world, from caveman times to now, us painting stories or carving stories into stone on the walls. I mean, at a glance you might say, oh, this is like the same thing. But I mean, the base of each one of these is different, tells something different. Those are animals in there too.
Oh, exactly.
So I mean, that's even the top is not. If you really look at the tops are different. There's so much story and detail in there.
It's true. And my gosh, I mean, just the fact that you brought up the Egyptians and how they're doing the same type of thing as the Celts here, though differently. It brings me back to kind of a macro fact. I remember watching Sleeping Beauty, a special feature on the DVD, and 4 different artists from the Disney studio went out to paint a tree, and they all painted the same tree, but they all painted it differently. One was focusing on the strength of the tree, another one focused on sort of the beauty of the tree, another one focused on the mythology of the tree, and worked a lot of nymphs and things into his piece. And every single, even amidst the same culture, we all have kind of different ways of looking at things. So you can imagine how different cultures look at different things differently, and that's why it's so important to have work like this to find out what the focus was for every culture.
Yeah.
I remember in Ireland we went to the Book of Kells. The Book of Kells, if you don't know, is a ancient text that depicts the 4 Gospels of the Bible. And there's a lot of text worked into there, there's a lot of artwork in there. And I remember at one point, next to Jesus, there was a peacock.
Okay.
And like, why a peacock? And the peacock is tied into incorruptibility or something like that. That was what they valued and what they saw, which is bizarre to me because I never would have considered that. But again, that's why we go. That's why we explore other cultures, and that's why we take photos like this, so we can bring this back with us and have it for reference.
So this was a pretty fruitful event for you.
Very.
And I wanted to say thank you because you actually brought me back some chocolate.
I did. That is a 200-year-old chocolate from underneath Dublin Castle.
Wow.
No, it's not.
I was gonna say, and the barcode is just as old too.
Definitely.
But actually, I'm looking at. Oh wow, we've actually got how much writing back here, and markers I don't recognize. Well, I mean, I do recognize. I just don't know exactly where they hail from. They look familiar to me, but I don't want to mislabel what they would be.
Fair enough.
But that's awesome. That's great. Yeah, and thanks.
Definitely.
Anything else you want to tell us about the trip? And
You know what? It was really exciting.
I think we're going to end here as for part one of What Are You Doing? And then next time we come around, I'll catch you up on whatever I'm doing. So
Sounds good.
this was awesome. And I think we'll take a quick break and I'll look at more pictures. And thanks for tuning in, everybody. And we'll see you in a bit. Hey guys, if you have any questions or want to have a topic answered on a future episode, go ahead and email us at tmi.art.productions@gmail.com.
Michael, give me back my Pez dispenser.